G'day people, it's Ross Fader back once again. Now I know there's a million Amen videos out there, and I'm sure there's a few that use the Akaizer and a lot that are using the Amigo sampler as well. What I thought I'd do today is bring them both together, create some sounds in the Akaizer, drag them into the DAW and see what we can do with the Amigo. First up, what is the Akaizer? It's a free app that can time stretch and pitch shift any WAV or AIFF file in the style of that classic cyclic time stretch you'd find on an old Akai sampler. Considering an original S950 could cost you anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000, the Akaizer is a pretty wild free option and a lot of fun. Alright, so let's look at what we have here. Over here, nice little picture of the Winston's original 7-inch with a track called Amen Brother. That's what we pulled the sample from, and I've got a couple of little versions here, left channel, right channel, mono, and the clean version. And we're going to use the clean cut and drag that straight into the Akaizer. So a couple of tips on usage. We'll run you through what's on the screen here. It's got the S Series Classic and the S Series Revised. And a revised version just improves on that algorithm, giving it perfect timing and a fuller sound, but with a minor compromise of the pitch drifting ever so slightly. But I don't think I've ever noticed that. Here you've got your time factor, obviously 200%. It's going to stretch it twice as long, down to 50%. It's going to be half the length. You've got your transpose by semitones, so up a couple octaves, down a couple octaves. Then you've got the cycle length. So what I've found with this, if you drag this cycle length down below 1,000, you'll get a much more kind of metallic sound. And if you drag that cycle length back up, it will reduce the metallic sound. So we'll leave it on 1,000 right now. We'll just play the sample straight. If you use these little arrows, you can always reset to the original value. So let's just play the sample. And now let's start time stretching it. So this is what 200%. We'll drag it out to sound like. And let's pitch it up, kind of 12 semitones. Yeah, there's that classic sound.
3 hours later.
So I've gone ahead and saved a bunch of different versions of that Amen. Pitched up, pitched down, time stretched back and forth, cycle length up and down. Lots of different versions that we can drag back into the DAW and cut up in audio or drag into the Amigo sampler. Now, the only real downside with the Akaizer is it's less of a plugin and more of a standalone app. So it doesn't work inside your DAW. You have to kind of do everything outside and then drag them in as audio. The other thing, Windows Defender loves to freak out and think it's a virus. So when you open it up, expect to get a little warning there and just plow straight through that. So the Akaizer is going to give us that authentic old school time stretch sound, and the Amigo is going to give us some real creative control. So let's drag all of our audio into the DAW and kind of play around with it and then create some nice loops that will drag into the Amigo. So here's our folder with all of our different versions of the Amen. So I'm just going to drag these into the project. Then we can turn on our snipping tool. And if you hold down Alt, whatever cut you make will do the same cut through the whole track. So just like that. Now I've got a bunch of individual cuts. What I've seen a few different people do is go through and colorize these. So you can see your kicks from your snares and your shuffles. So pretty easy to do, makes it visually kind of easy to drag things around. The other thing we can do is also pitch things up and down back in Cubase. So here I've got a time stretched version at 0. And I can transpose that up 6 semitones. Gives me another sound, another flavor. Now, what I want to do is cut a bunch of different snare hits and different sounding and stretched kicks until I have a wide variety of slices. So what I've done back here, as you can see, I've got my original kind of flow, which I've sequenced in audio. Then I've got all these different slices that I'm going to trigger with the MIDI in Amigo. So let's have a listen to it by itself. So it probably sounds crazy or jumbled up like that, but basically what I've got is 4 bars of the kind of pattern I want to use and 4 bars of some different cuts that I can mix in and out. So I've bounced that down, and then we open an instance of the Amigo and we just drag that in. Because we've bounced it into the audio folder within Cubase, you're just going to go load and find it through your normal file structure. So then I've used the auto slice as equal, and I've set it to kind of 32. And if you want to go through and clean some of those up, be my guest. So now I can start arranging things in MIDI, and I know because I divided it into 32 that if I stretch it out over 2 bars, those are going to be quarter notes. So there's a simple 8 bars there, and I can create some variation at the end of each of those 8 bars just by using these different slices from up the top. So as I scroll through them, and I can create some really nice variation at the end of each phrase. So let's put that together with some of Tim Cant's atmospheric pads. So sometimes that's nice to do, just let a break roll around and play a bunch of different things on your little MIDI keyboard until you find a nice groove that you can build the rest of a track around.
I got something for your mind, your body, and your soul. Every day of my life.
Let's look at a couple more patterns. And with some pads behind. mix it up with a little bit of piano. The other thing we can do, because we have the freedom and control that comes in the Amigo sampler, we can take that phrase that we've created and then apply the Amigo effects and automate those as well. So let's play with the stretch a little bit on this one, and then we'll automate some reverses in there as well. Here's another pattern with the same tricks applied. And one more for the road. So as you can see, the Akaizer can give you some really nice sounds to pull into your DAW, slice up in audio, and re-sequence, and then you can drag them into the Amigo for the ultimate control. So a good combination of Akaizer and Amigo for making jungle and hardcore music. Until next time, peace.